This is a high and tight flat top, and this is pretty much what I wore for 20 some odd years while I was in the military. And I tried to grow my hair out, just couldn't fucking stand it, man. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not supposed to have hair. I spent too much of my life not having it, and I tried to, get back into the groove of having hair. Fuck it, it's not even worth it. Hello everybody, Terrence Popp with another episode of Live from the Lair. And since we're talking about, Abu Ghraib prison, and we're going to go through the April 10th shootout, I decided to give myself the evil Burt haircut. Except when I was in Iraq, it was a little longer on top because we didn't have a barber. So I'm going to be talking about between April 5th and April 10th, 2004. I'm going to try to cover this whole thing in detail, so it might take a couple videos. Now, I talked about the April 5th when the Marines, Charlie 5-1, lost 4 guys. They lost, it was bad. And that was right when the whole Fallujah thing was fucking heating up real bad. And somewhere between April 6th and April 8th, almost all of Charlie 5-1 picked up stakes and went to go camp out, at fucking Fallujah for the big assault they were gonna fucking do, I guess. See, the funny thing is the Marines, they sat out there outside Fallujah for, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks before they started the assault. When the Army, they showed up like the night prior in the dark, and by the first light, it all kicked off. But we'll get to that. April 5th, on the far side of the spaghetti loop, right down the road from Abu Ghraib, they blew like a 30-foot crater in the MSR. All right, it was huge. I mean, it went down about 15 feet, 30-foot diameter. That's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, 1,000 to 1,500 pounds of explosives were put in a drainage gully pipe that went under the road. They just fucking hammered it, and they didn't do both sides. They just did one side. And I don't know, it's kind of creepy because I drove by that once, getting fucking Gatorade and potato chips. I think during this fucking time frame, I did 2 trips to the fucking Victory to get mail, Gatorade, and potato chips. Retail in the fucking combat zone, that's the way it fucking goes. I mean, So, and I knew when I saw that they were trying to cut off the prison for the most part. We didn't really know the extent of all the craziness that was going on until they hit a couple convoys during that afternoon, but they weren't. I don't think they didn't take much losses. I mean, I think the convoys were able to push through because the local insurgents hadn't gathered up their forces, I guess, and they were just fucking around. But they weren't fucking around. They're trying to kill you, and that's just how it fucking is. We got back to Abu somewhere around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was chilling in the PX, and some of my guys came to get me because there's some fucked up shit going on. And for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, Worthless and Lapdog were fucking just yes men pieces of shit, but I mean, the men knew that, if something was really fucked up, they could come talk to me or tell me what's going on, and I wouldn't just sit there and let it go down. I mean, it was fucking stupid. So it turns out that we had 2 tankers of fuel. One was, I think, Mogas, and the other one was diesel, or JP8. And they had been sabotaged. They'd been filled with, partially filled with water by Haji to fuck up the fuel. And the battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Edwards, the worthless fuck that he is, he received orders from higher that, we were going to drive these vehicles down to Victory, and they were going to be escorted by people, like 3 vehicles from 3rd Platoon. Now, if you look out in the direction of the MSR, you can see columns of fucking smoke coming up because they had destroyed a couple of vehicles that were that had belonged to Iraqis, thinking that they were American, and they were fucking. One was a fuel truck, and it was fucking up in smoke. I'm like, okay, well, that fuel truck is now on fire, and they want to drive 2 more fuel trucks down that same route with my men escorting it and possibly in the fucking tanker trucks too. Now it's fucking stupid, especially over the fucking fuel it's basically worthless. Okay, maybe they're driving in there to recondition it, or maybe they're to dispose of it. I don't fucking know, but it wasn't worth losing people's, getting people killed over it. So I'm fucking flipping out. I'm like, oh fuck, I fucking tell the colonel, this fucking fuel is stupid. Why are we fucking doing this? People are gonna get fucking killed. And he looked at me and goes, I was fucking ordered to do it. And I'm like, oh, I got it. Yeah, I understand. Roger. Yeah. Now, in the back of my mind, I know if we are not ready to roll until after 5 o'clock, we're not rolling, because there's a general blanket order from theater commander because of the craziness that's going on. Nobody's supposed to be on the road after 5 o'clock because, the sun goes down and you'd be caught on the road in the dark, which is even worse than being caught on the road in the day with all the craziness that's going on. So, one of the fucking vehicles, I think they were going to send a 510 with them. No, it was actually an M88. They had pulled it out and they'd got it ready to get fucking, do its deal. A couple days prior to that, they had taken a mortar fire in there, and so the vehicle was a little dinged up. And I think somebody got smoked on that one, and I think they got killed and fell into onto the fuel blivet that caught on fire, and they shipped home like boots and some leg bones, and that was pretty much all that was left of that guy. That was a bummer. And this is the only time that the motor sergeant actually was cool. And I think he was just being cool because, he knew some of his drivers were going to be in those vehicles driving back to fucking victory. And I think he didn't want to see his guys get fucking smoked either. So, I noticed that, one of the tires in the front was flat. Things happen. The motor sergeant fucking tells the colonel, hey, this vehicle's fucking deadline. You gotta change the fucking tire. Changing the tire is really not that hard. Okay, it's like 4:15. And he dragged his fucking feet to get that tire changed. And the colonel was like, fucking Popp slash that fucking tire, blah, blah, blah. And I thought I was going to get fucking hemmed up for that. And then the motor sergeant was like, sir, this vehicle was parked really close to those mortar attacks yesterday. Easily a piece of shrapnel could have done this. And we didn't notice it till we pulled it out. So, since nobody actually saw anything, I took a pass on that one. And the vehicle didn't get fixed until after 5 o'clock, so we didn't fucking roll anywhere. So what do? I pick up my fucking satellite phone, and I call to the Hilltop, the SF guys up there in Victory, and I tell them the fucking deal. Now, I know that I can get fucking word to the people who need to fucking know the stupidity that's going on faster if I come from the top down than from the bottom up, because I gotta go in there, and you got a battalion and brigade, and then you got fucking just 3 or 4 layers of administrative stupidity to get through. So I called my boys over there on the Hilltop, told them the deal, and they told their colonel, and their colonel fucking called somebody else, and 8 o'clock that night, the order to fucking drive that fuel in the morning to Victory was fucking canceled. There was too much fucking craziness going on out there to roll people around on mobile fucking... Basically, if you get in a fucking vehicle hauling fuel on that road on those particular days, you're basically driving your own funeral pyre. You're gonna be burned up and gone, because that's a lot of fuel. It won't work in an engine, but I'm pretty fucking sure it'll catch the fuck on fire when you hit it with an RPG. Just saying. April 7th. Okay, April 7th, we started hearing the crazy propaganda from the mosque tower just outside the wall. They were fucking going crazy, saying they're gonna fucking blow down the walls, come in and cut off people's heads. We were taking unusual amounts of mortar fire. And normally we'd get 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks a day, and it was between 1 and 3 mortars. During this fucking 5-day period, we were taking mortar attacks, 3 and 5, 6 times a day that were between 10 and 20, 25 rounds apiece. and they were firing 81 60s and a couple of 4-inch mortars at us. We were getting the whole fucking ball of wax. Okay, so that was fucking crazy. We could hear mortar fire outside the walls, and pulled out the binos, and I took a look I could see the plumes where the fucking rounds were hitting, and they were landing right around the fucking road where that crater was. So when I see that, I know exactly what's going on. Is they're setting up a complicated ambush. They want to stop vehicles or slow them down at that crater, and then fucking just pepper them with mortar fire. All right, I know exactly what's going on. You know, I reported up to higher. It fell on deaf ears due to, I would say, incompetence and cowardice. You know, I&C. We took mortar attacks that were danger close to Tower 1 and Tower 4. I think I have video of that somewhere. I have to dig it out of my fucking bags and baggage. You know, this happens when you live out of bags and boxes for fucking a decade and a half. You have it, you know you have it, but you can't find it. And on that particular time, the spotter got killed because there was the overpass on the far end of Abu, which was the spaghetti loop, and then there was another one that was on this side of Abu, which was a lot closer. And from that overpass, you could actually see into the fucking prison, and they saw the guy holding the cell phone, you know, when the mortars are landing, and they fucking smoked him. I think they mowed him down with the 60, you know. There was some stink about it because he wasn't holding a weapon. But you know what? As soon as that guy was shot, the mortar fire stopped. And usually when crazy shit's going down, the normal Iraqis who aren't involved in anything, they're fucking gone. They don't want to be out in the open because they know shit's gonna go fucking south. Let's see. The 7th was the first day that none of the local Hajis showed up to work at the prison. They just didn't come in. Apparently, somebody had gone out in the town and told everyone, hey, if you're in the fucking prison when we attack, we're gonna fucking kill you, fuck you. So they're like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to work. I can't blame them. I don't think I would show up either.
Want to retire someplace on the planet where the women look like this? I thought you did, but if you want to know how, first you need to go to MGTOWbooks.com and purchase MGTOW's Guide to Retiring on 200K in Southeast Asia. Don't forget to use the promo code POPP, that's P-O-P-P, for 10% off. A link is in the description.
April 8th. We had another convoy hit, between, on the far side of the Spaghetti Loop. I think it was hit by the complicated ambush. And apparently, there was somewhere between 200 and 500 participants, attacking this convoy. And I believe this is the one where Craig Malpin was actually taken prisoner. And it wasn't reported till April 16th. And let's see. And I recall 2 days later on the 10th, we drove by these vehicles. I think there was like 4 or 5 fuel vehicles that went up in fucking smoke. They were done. Okay, and it's fucking crazy. But it is what it is. I already told you Charlie 5-1 basically pulled out between the 6th and the 8th to go to Fallujah. I think they left behind like 10 guys, skeleton crew. On April 9th, we received orders from our battalion commander to move the Mark 19 automatic grenade launchers back into the towers because I wanted to keep them in the towers when I was running the guard shift, and they made me take them down because we weren't, an occupying force. And they wanted to have scary fucking presence, so they put up our broken fucking 60s up there. And then Edwards was like, okay, cool, we'll just put the Mark 19s up because crazy shit's going on. We've had 2 or 3 convoys set on fire. We've a complicated ambush. They actually captured a guy and killed some other U.S. forces. Now he wants to put the Mark 19s in the tower. Okay, good. Again, on the 9th, no workers showed up. Again, a crazy amount of mortar fire. And this time we actually took RPG inbound missiles, and we took some fucking Kardoosh rockets. And those things are fucking huge. Okay. So they were really ramping up the Scunnion on us, and it was fucked up. And I don't know what the fuck was going on, because I actually went to Victory on the 9th to get fucking bullshit for the PX. And I believe I went again on the 7th. Fuck, man. I mean, I rolled right by all this shit, you know, just with the standard convoy in a fucking LMTV with 2 dudes without a lick of fucking armor on it. You know, there was no fucking armor on that LMTV. It was fucking bare bones. And I consider myself severely lucky that I didn't get fucked up. I mean, easily they could have fucking pulled the trigger on my convoy on any one of those days, and I might not be standing here talking to you right now. All right, now we get to April 10th. I was running the PX, so I would eat chow. And on the days I wasn't going to Victory, I would eat chow. Then I would go to the battalion, roughly around 8:30, and I would have to sign out the money for the register, and then I had to bring it back and sign it in, and, you know, write down the amounts and stuff. So I'm in the battalion, signing for the cash. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I hear on the fucking radio, because they had hooked up to the box speaker so everyone could fucking hear it, one of our convoys is rolling to Victory and gets fucking lit up. And it was Staff Sergeant Carmel. He was the NCOIC. Chupacabra was there. Evil Dwarf was there, or better known as the Mad Shitter. He was on that convoy. And they were getting lit the fuck up. I mean, when they were keying the mic, I was hearing all kinds of fucking gunfire. You could hear in their voices that they weren't fucking around. This is the fucking real deal. 8:30, we lost comms with them, so we didn't know what the fuck was going on, you know. And we're trying to call Victory and find out, you know. And finally, at 09, you know, they call us back, you know, from the radio on the hilltop from the SF guys. You know, hey, we're all here. You know, we're all black on ammo. You know, we're fucked. You know, nobody's dead. The vehicles are a little shot up, but we should be okay. We're going to hang out here and, you know, try to, you know, come back in the morning, or, you know, wait till they roll Bradleys out there to secure the fucking road, which didn't take place for quite a few days. So, you know, that's like 09. I find out the good news. I go to open the PX. At about 11 o'clock, a couple guys come tell me that, hey, we just got a warning order that we're going to roll down there around 3 o'clock and escort that convoy back. In my mind, I'm like, this isn't a fucking, you know, escort fucking, you know, back mission. This is a fucking movement to contact mission, which is the most dangerous fucking job or mission to pull, especially when you're in infantry. Because what that entails is you walk or move in one direction until people start shooting at you, and then you just fucking, you wing it and you handle it from there. So I'm like, holy fuck. So I roll out, you know, from the PX, I lock it up, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not fucking, I got shit to do. You know, and I go back to the Black Talk. I talk to fucking Worthless and his lapdog, and I'm like, hey, and I try to explain to him that there's a crater, that fucking got mortar fire, complicated ambush, you know, fuck that. We need the Mark 19s out of the towers, put them into fucking vehicles, and Worthless wouldn't fucking do it because, you know, Edwards wanted him in the tower. And I'm like, fuck that guy. Okay, what's he gonna do, yell at you? People are gonna fucking die here because our machine guns, they're fucked. We don't have 21 fucking machine guns that work. Okay, we have like 7. All right, which is a lot of machine guns, don't get me wrong. Plus we had, you know, saws and stuff, but he just wasn't having, I mean, literally, I'm like having a like stand-up yelling fucking match, and I was considering fucking, you know, punching him in the face. But, you know, that wouldn't have not have been productive. I reined myself in, you know, I put the, you know, evil Popp in the box. That's really pisses me off. And then I'm like, you know what, wait a minute. I'm a fucking triple tabbed CIB with a combat star, E-fucking-8 in the United States motherfucking Army. I'm gonna find me some Mark 19s. And I know the 172nd MP Battalion, the combat MPs, the ones that had fucking were in charge of that whole fucking torturous whip me spank me session that was in the fucking news, they're packing up their shit because they're leaving like in a week or two. So I fucking walk my ass across the fucking, you know, fob in the open, not a lick of cover, fuck it, just walk across. You know, if it's my time, it's my time. Walk in there, And I remember there was a specialist nasal rod, female, very nice chick. And I say, hey, get your commander. I got to talk to him. So she goes, get your commander. And I'm like, listen, see that big fucking column of fucking smoke out there? My unit is ordered to roll out there and grab a convoy and come back through that fucking shit twice. They're going there and they're coming back. It's going to be fucking ugly. And I need to sign out some Mark 19s. And he goes, well, I'd like to help you, Sergeant, but they're all palletized. And I'm like, sir, are you seriously going to allow people to get put in a long fucking box because you're too fucking lazy to cut some fucking some shit out of a fucking pallet and just sign it over to me? And he looks at me and he's like, ah, god damn it, I'll hand receipt you two. And I'm like, done. You know, nasal rod, picks out the two that I'm gonna get. She knows that they work. She brings them back there. Well, she doesn't carry them herself because she only weighed like $130. But some other dudes put them on the counter and the whole kit. I mean, I got the tripods, the guns, the pentals, the whole fucking deal. And I sign them out. And I can't carry this shit back to the dudes. So I look at this commander and I'm like, hey, can I borrow a Humvee? And he looks at me and goes, god damn it, don't you fucking take that Humvee out there. It'll get fucking blown up and that'll be my fucking ass. And I'm like, all right, time out. It's all good. I load up the fucking Humvee and I know I need to get fucking new ammo. So I roll down to Charlie 5-1. I know that they've got like a skeleton crew there, but I didn't know who was there, you know. Luckily, at that particular time, I rolled up there and their first sergeant was there. I walked in there and I said, listen, I told him the deal. We're doing a movement to contact. It's going to be fucking ugly. We're rolling down fucking victory. We're probably going to fucking mix it up with some of the boneheads that killed some of your Marines. And I need some fucking virgin Mark 19 ammo because ours is a little on the old side. He's like, not a problem. Gunny, you give this man whatever the fuck he wants. Thank you, First Sergeant. I filled up on Mark 19 ammo. 30 caliber ammo, 5.56 saw ammo. I think I got like 6 AT4s, and I don't know, it's a bunch of other shit. I don't even fucking remember it all. Filled up the fucking vehicle, and I rolled it across. And I remember by the time I had done all this, it's like 1 o'clock, 1:30, right? And my guys are all lining up, getting ready to go fucking do their deal. And you can see it in their faces that they were not fucking happy about this. They were fucking really seriously concerned. And I roll up there, and I remember I roll up and I turn around and I get out of the Humvee and I lower it and I go, all right, who's taking the Mark 19s? And one of the guys, I don't remember who it was, like literally, he fucking, like his voice was cracking, like he's like, thank God, you know. And like people were like tearing up and shit because there was that fucking tense of a fucking moment. And then they load up their fucking shit. And I remember, you know, the commander, you know, Worthless comes out. He said, what the fuck? I told you not to take those Mark 19s out of fucking ammo. And I'm like, sir, these aren't the Mark 19s from the towers. I pull out the hand receipt and I go, these Mark 19s are from the 172nd. So you're off the hook. So he's like, oh, okay. So we put the Mark 19s up there. And we went through, you know, our final inspections. They're rolling out the stage, and I'm like, you know, I went and got my shit, and I'm walking up there, and one of the vehicles I went to get in, like, oh, you can't go. And I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? I'm fucking going. Fuck you. And like one of the smartest things Worthless did on this particular day is he said, you're gonna roll in my vehicle. And I said, roger that. And I jumped in. I remember I was behind the driver. Sergeant First Class Jay was the gunner, and we roll out to the gate and we wait for the fucking to get the okay from battalion. We waited there for, I would say, 20 minutes, and we rolled out the gate like at 2:45. You know, 15 minutes before the actual, you know, 3 o'clock. You know, 1500 hour. I remember like we're rolling out, and I'm like, hey sir, you know, roll one of your vehicles up there with the Mark 19 and get on the fucking overpass and overwatch us as we pass by. He's like, roger that. And we're rolling up there, and the Mark 19 on the rear vehicle, you know, relieve the one up there, on the overpass to take lead again, and that one rolled up on top of the overpass. And at the same time, there was, I think, a Blackwater convoy that was getting fucked up, by a couple buildings that was about maybe 800 or 900 meters away, and they squeezed off, I think, half a box or a box of ammo into these buildings, and the Blackwater guys like rolled out, and I don't think any of them died. We never got the intel on that, and they reloaded their Mark 19, which is hard to do. Okay, now mind you, these Humvees were not up armored Humvees. They only had Haji boilerplate armor, which is a 1/4-inch pig iron steel. No chicken plates, nothing. Usually when we'd roll around there, we'd never see anybody, doing anything. But for whatever reason, we're rolling out there, and there's all kinds of people working in the fields, standing around just watching, And I'm like, there's no fucking way, The convoy got lit up this morning, and they're fucking there's something's going on. So everyone's hair is standing up, everyone's like freaking out. Nothing happens. They let us fucking slip right by. And we roll up there to Victory, and we don't even pull down, we don't make the left and go down the 3 miles to the actual base. Our convoy is coming back because we have comms with them. So we roll down there, and we turn around, and they join us. So now we have 13 vehicles. All right, there's a platoon and a half, maybe it was more than 13, maybe it's like 16 vehicles. But there's a platoon and a half of guys, all paratroopers, right? We've got an assload of machine guns, saws, 60s, and we have 2 Mark 19s. And we roll back, and we rolled maybe a mile, and we received a hail of fucking gunfire. There were hundreds of people shooting at us. RPGs are fucking, and they look like Roman candles. It's weird, but, shh. And we're fucking, and we open up. We just go fucking nuts. And I remember, Sergeant First Class Jay was standing there in the turret. Shit's whipping by him, and he's fucking just doing his deal with the 60. I'm calling out targets. I'm hitting the leg. I'm like, over there, the reeds. It was fucking crazy. And I had my M4, and that entire trip back, I only fired 58 rounds of ammunition. I was on semi-automatic. I wasn't doing the stupid shit. I was engaging targets, ones that I could see. I was engaging, flashes where, we were taking fire. I could hear rounds hitting the door, and they were a good 400 or 500 meters away. And I remember, I could see this whole bunch of these muzzle flashes coming from these reeds off on the side of the road. People were laying in wait, just fucking going to town. And then I saw the Mark 19 just sweep that area. It's like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, a lot of motherfuckers just died right there. And we're rolling back. Now, I know we're rolling back and we're coming up on the fucking crater. Now, luckily for us, that part of the guardrail between the two sides of the fucking highway was broken. So we roll up there, and we're turning and we're going like this, and we start taking mortar fire, and we just rolled right through it. We went up, while we were doing that, like in the middle of the whole thing, somebody stopped their vehicle, got out, and fired an AT-4 at one of the mosques. And I remember it hit the fucking door, and I'm like, that's gonna be fun to explain. And it was crazy. I mean, there were tracer rounds. I remember I'm looking through the windshield, and the windshield fucking cracks. You can see the tracer rounds fucking going all over the place. And I remember I was watching tracer rounds go in one window of the Humvee and out the other. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, people are dying. People are getting shot in the fucking head. I mean, we lost a lot of motherfuckers. I'm like, holy fucking shit. And, we rolled right through it. And the whole way, we were just fucking death blossoming. We're just fucking going to fucking town. And I remember, I think it was Chupacabra. I remember I was looking out the window over here, and Chupacabra was like one vehicle in front of me or one behind me, I'm not sure. And there's a guy standing in a doorway, just fucking shooting with an AK-47, just spraying. Doesn't have it up. He's not aiming. He's just doing the Uzi spray thing. And I watched this 40 mic grenade just, and then there was a flash of light, a bunch of smoke, and I just saw, 2 legs and hips just fall on. The top half of them was blown off. And the evil dwarf engaged a guy who would run out to the side of the road and was trying to, shoot into the vehicle. And he was inside the arming distance of the Mark 19. So he shot him anyway with the grenade launcher. And there's so much force in that thing. I mean, it's a grenade. I mean, and that Mark 19 will fire that thing 32 or 3,300 meters. And I remember I'm looking there and I see the guy, bring up his weapon, and he just gets hit and he just disappears. He just folds and flies off the picture. Just, I lost sight of him. He probably flew about 15 meters. I'm sure it killed him. It had to have. I mean, it probably burst every organ in his chest. And I'm not trying to be super graphic here, but this is exactly what fucking happened. Okay, just from my perspective, from what I saw, and I was in the fucking vehicle, this is the way it went down. We roll past all that. We pull into Abu, and as soon as we got in, we literally stopped. We're like, okay, who's hit? Who's dead? And I'm standing there, and like I'm seeing all of these people come out of the vehicles, and I'm like, holy fuck, It turns out one guy, Sergeant Fox, he got hit from some bits of a bullet. It was fired from an RPK 30 cal machine gun, which is Soviet version. And it had burned right through the armor plate on the side of his fucking Humvee. And then the bullet had fragmented, and part of the fragments had went into his wrist. That was it. He was the only guy touched. That was it. And I remember, there was a couple other guys who were using the 60s. They didn't have any chicken plates. And there was like 3 or 4 bullet strikes on that one 4-inch metal bar that holds the fucking machine gun. There were guys who were behind unarmored, with glass that, were hit with AK fire, and the bullets went through the glass and then went through the ceiling of the Humvee. It's like they went through and somehow just in midair just went. It's hard to explain. There's so many fucking close calls. There was guys who had, tracers, literally, one guy claimed that it fucking just hit the end of his fucking K-pop. That's fucking, I believe it. I saw it. I saw them going, I saw the tracers going through the fucking vehicle windows, because we didn't have armored windows. We just had that little fucking, pig iron doors. And my door had somewhere between 14 and 17 hits on it. Okay, so they were firing from 400 or 500 meters with AK-47s. So the round didn't have enough ass to go through the steel, but it was enough to make little pocks. So I counted them all, and I'm like, if I didn't have this door, I'd be dead. And the only funny thing of this particular story, on the way, and when we get done, everyone gets out, and my ass was fucking killing me. Killing me. And I'm like, I go to the fucking doc. I'm like, Doc, man, I think I sprained my asshole. Should I go to the medic or should I wait a couple days? He's like, oh yeah, Papa, I think you should wait that one out, man. We'll never live that down. Apparently my pucker factor was so fucking high, I had strained my anus. Listen, I'm not embarrassed to say it, That was a fucking crazy motherfucking shootout, and why we didn't die, I have no idea. Now, the casualties. The civil affairs team that was working out of Abu Ghraib prison went to 2 local hospitals right after the engagement, and they counted how many people had brought in. And usually only 30% of Iraqis who get wounded or hurt actually go to the hospital, especially during these turbulent times. And they're projected KIAs for, inflicted by us were somewhere between 75 and 115, with 3 times that amount of people fucking wounded. So basically, A platoon and a half of fucking paratroopers zeroed out that portion of the Mahdi army that was fucking just waylaying fucking people for the past fucking week on that MSR between Abu Ghraib and Victory. Waylaid it, just fucked them up like it's nobody's fucking business. And every single one of our vehicles had a Red Wings logo spray painted on the side. And for the rest of our tour, if we were in those vehicles, anywhere within, 5 to 10 miles around Abu Ghraib prison, nobody ever fucked with us again. Because there are stories after this where convoys were hit before us and after us. So we know we were driving through areas that were fucking infested with fucking, enemy fucking hostile Hajis. And they saw the Red Wings logo and they said, you know what? I don't feel like getting fucked up today. We're going to let them pass. All right, well, this is a long one. I wanted to do this in 220 minutes, but, somehow I thought if I put a break between this, it would lessen the effect. So that's April 5th through the 10th, 2004. Take it easy.